But now two of Syria's provinces have been taken over entirely by Islamist radicals. Al-Qaeda in Idlib province, ISIS in Raqqa. Idlib just finished falling to Al-Qaeda's Nusra Front with the loss of the last remaining Syrian army air base in the province. Harley Carnes, CBS News.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary-related entertainment.
Aloha and welcome to Maui Nonprofit Notes, where each week you will find us talking story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support those with needs within our community. Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, please stop by Pacific Source's cabinet and appliance showroom located in the Waikapu Base Yard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. For those of you who may be listening to this show for the first time, each week during this hour we share some of the experiences of our nonprofit agencies and just how they are changing lives, changing communities, and creating miracles of hope for those with needs. Today we're going to start off talking with Diane Alba Means, who is the marketing director for Rosalani Place. Hi, Diane.
Aloha, Susie. Glad to be here.
How you doing?
Great.
Now, Rosalani Place, for those who don't know anything about it, if I were brand new to Maui, what should I know about Rosalani Place?
Well, Rosalani Place is Maui's premier licensed assisted living community, and we have care for people that are independent, some light assistance, where they need extra care because they might have physical needs, or also those that might have memory loss with Alzheimer's or dementia.
That sounds like that covers the territory.
Quite a bit.
And the minimum age for being?
It's 55.
55. Wow. And you guys are pretty much full all the time.
I would say we are probably around 80% full all the time. We seem to, have people that have been with us a long time, and a lot, they're there through end of life.
Right.
And but we're always welcoming new people, and we really enjoy having people that are more independent, as well as those that have, specific needs that we can help with our caregiving and nursing staff.
Right. Now, some people will come in basically just because they cannot live at home anymore.
True.
And they come into like a full apartment type unit.
Yeah, it is apartment living. Okay. Even in our memory wing, it is apartment living. We have folks that possibly they've had a fall and they're not able to go back, say, to their home because of staircases and things like that. And so they'll come in and they can have help with daily tasks such as bathing, dressing, reminders for meals, medication management, just things like that, just to help them through everyday things so they can enjoy their life. Included in their apartment is their rent, their utilities, their meals. Housekeeping and laundry services are done for them once a week. We have transportation available to their doctor's appointments, and there's always exercise programs and social activities and things like that for them to participate with.
To keep them involved.
Yes.
Now, in their units, are there small kitchenette type?
There are kitchenettes. We don't have any stoves, but we do have a microwave, like a 3/4 size refrigerator and sink, and there's counter space, so they are able to prepare, some things if they'd like. But it's kind of like going on a cruise ship where their meals are all included, and they have a snack in the afternoon, and they go to a beautiful dining room, and they really don't have to do the dishes that way either.
Hey, that sounds good to me. Where do I sign up?
I can talk to you later, Susie.
Yeah, okay. All right. Sounds like a deal. So now when they come in, and if let's say everything, perhaps it was a fall and they can't go back to their home, and they're there for several years and they start to come up with some other issues, things like memory loss, whatever. They move around within the building?
They do. We really would like people to be able to age in place if possible. So sometimes they'll come in as a more independent. We have our second floor, which is called Molahia Terrace, and that's our enhanced assisted care wing. So they're able to check on those residents every hour versus every 2 hours on our upper floors. And there's a higher ratio of staff to oversee their daily tasks. And then we do have a secured unit for those residents that have more advanced Alzheimer's or dementia. and there's an even higher ratio of staff there, and they check on those folks every 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And now we're not a hospice facility, but if we have residents who have lived with us and need to go under hospice care, they can stay with us through end of life on hospice care,
really?
so they don't need to move around.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good, because that would be a hardship to have to find somewhere to go to live. That's why Hospice Maui's building that unit, their house they're building.
There's really still a need for that as well,
Yeah.
for sure. The other thing that people don't often realize that we offer is respite short-term care. So that's anywhere from 5 to 30 days generally. And so if you were a caregiver, Susie, for your mom, and you needed to go off island and you didn't want to leave her home alone, she could come check into Rosalani, and it would be just like going to a hotel, and she'd just bring her, her personal
toothbrush.
her personal belongings, and her clothes, and she would just fit right in for the time that you were gone.
And I wouldn't have a worry in the world,
Right.
because you're in charge.
That's true.
That sounds good. And if anyone's in that situation, I'm sure you can appreciate what a great opportunity that would be, to not have to think about who's there, did they show up today, who's going over to take care of mom this weekend, and so on and so forth, and just know that you're there around the clock.
Right, and it also gives, we call it caregiver's relief. So if someone's a caregiver, even though they might not be going off island, they just need a break, to get some rejuvenation for themselves. That's a really good opportunity to use Rosalani's respite care program.
And what was the minimum stay?
5 days.
5 days, so 5 to 30. You said.
Yes.
Okay. Wow, that's also gives them a chance to try it out.
That's true.
Because there's some people who just kind of have this thing about moving into a facility like that is kind of like closing the door on their life.
Exactly. But it's a good way. People have come and tried us out. They may come for a couple weeks and see how it feels. And and with respite, it's a furnished apartment, so it's again kind of like going to a hotel. When someone moves in full time, they come unfurnished, so people bring in their own personal belongings.
Interesting. And I understand the chef's not too bad over there.
Oh, yeah, we have good chefs over there. We're actually doing a Grandparents' Day luncheon on Sunday, and it's going to be a Japanese food theme. So.
That's right, this Grandparents' Weekend, isn't it?
It is.
For all you kids out there of any age, right? Don't forget Grandma and Grandpa.
True.
It's I'll bet that's one of the most overlooked days, special days on the calendar. What is it with people? We kind of forget when we get past Mom and Dad.
We're going out for
it. You're going out for it.
We are.
Well, good.
There you go. Okay. So at Rosalani Place, you've got, as you mentioned, what was it? Maybe I need your unit. The grandparents luncheon. But we also have coming up on Saturday
our Senior Saturday Sushi Bingo. And this is all to kick off National Assisted Living Week, which actually starts on Grandparents' Day.
Okay.
But National Assisted Living Week was started in 1995, and it provides a unique opportunity for our residents, our family, staff, volunteers, and the community to come together to share with our residents a variety of events and activities to show them how much we care for them. So we've got a piano concert on Friday night, the 11th, and then Saturday, the 12th, we have our bingo event, which is an open house where our models will be open for viewing, and that's going to be from 1 until 3 in the afternoon on this Saturday, the 12th. And there'll be sushi, because every Saturday the snack is sushi, so that's how I came up with our Senior Saturday Sushi Bingo, and it seems to be a big hit. We've had it a couple of other times in the past, and so we thought we'd bring that back. So.
And this is open to the public?
It's open to the public, so they can call and make a reservation. I just would like to get a head count, and they can reach me at 871-7720 to reserve their spot.
And this is free, totally free.
It's free, and there's going to be lots of bingo prizes, and we'll have some beautiful volunteers that have been doing some of the local Hawaii pageant girls are going to be there doing the bingo prizes and calling bingo, so it'll be a nice afternoon.
Should be good fun from 1 to 3.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, and then on Sunday you've got the Grandparents'
Day luncheon. And that's at 11:30. And it is, the public is invited if they'd like to attend. It's a cost of only $10, which is a really good price for going out to a nice meal. There'll be entertainment in the main dining room as well. And then coming up in the week on the 16th, we're having Healing, Love, Art, and Music with Pamela. And then on Friday, we're having like a Hanafuda tournament with the Aluliki seniors. So if anybody likes to play Hanafuda, they can drop in and join us.
Hanafuda.
You're not familiar with Hanafuda?
Is that hands and foot?
It's a little Japanese card game, and it has all different colored diagrams on it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, no numbers. It looks pretty
Okay.
interesting, like different pictures with flowers and things. I'm not sure how to play, but
Ah,
it looks pretty
okay.
interesting. And then they'll end up the grandparents' week with our birthday bash for the residents who had their birthdays in September. So we have a lot of events planned throughout the week next week.
And you do the birthday bash every month.
They do.
Right.
They do.
Right.
And they have usually karaoke singers come in and do some great entertainment with that.
So it's really a great opportunity for people to be able to mingle and be out there and be entertained and have fun without all the extra that it would take if you were doing it on your own.
Correct.
And that's why most
Yeah.
seniors sit at home.
And we hear, one of the things with seniors is, they're lonely around. So, we really invite you, if you have a senior that's at home, please come join us on Saturday at our bingo events. Again, it's at 1 o'clock, and it's going to be at Rosalani Place. And our address is 88 South Papa Avenue in Kahului, and we're located right next to the Alalani Methodist Church. So, pretty close to the college and shopping and all. So come on down and see us.
That's great. Now, how long has Rosalani been open?
We'll be 13 years
Is it really?
in November, yes.
Wow.
Yes.
It didn't seem like it's been that long.
Yeah, I've been there 9, so.
That's great. That's great. Now, we were talking earlier about the food, and the reason I thought about that was I remember your free lunch and tour deal. Is that
Yes,
still going on?
It's still going on. If you are interested in coming and have a personalized tour, give me a call. I can set up a time where you can come and look around, and I'll treat you to lunch.
Such a deal.
Yeah.
Such a deal.
And if you want, I could even look at the menu for the week if you want to pick out
What day?
what type of food you want that week. So we have a big variety. Because all of our menu, because of our license as assisted living, are approved by a licensed dietitian. And there's about a 6-week rotation on the menu, and there's always alternatives if they don't care for the main menu.
So you never get tired of something because you don't get it that often.
True.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, there's obviously variations on that because some people can't eat certain things.
Correct.
And so special diets are always considered.
That's true. And their doctor may request a specific diet, like possibly for a renal diet or a diabetic diet, low sodium diet. And then there's different colored name tags that the servers will take into the kitchen so they know how to dish up their plate. Or they could be, say, allergic to shellfish or something like that. So they want to be sure that they're being served what they want,
Right.
how it should be requested by their doctor.
In the dining room, are they assigned tables or do they pick?
They are,
whenever?
Susie. Don't you sit in the same chair when you're at home every time?
Yeah, but there's only 2 or 3 choices.
Well, I know, but it's kind of the same thing. We get kind of used to sitting where we like to sit, and they also get to know each other very well. And for people that have beginning stages of memory loss, it's a lot less confusing. They know exactly where my table is, where I'm going to sit down, who I'm going to sit with. Yeah.
I remember when my mother was in a facility similar to this a few years ago, and every time I would go to visit, we'd usually go out and have lunch and dinner because she never would get out. So okay, I'm here, let's do it. And then she'd always insist that at least once while I was there, we'd go have dinner with everybody else, and then an afternoon snack in the big room. And we'd walk in, and I'd say, "Oh, where do you want to sit?" She says, "How about right here?" I said, "Oh, okay." And then I'd find out later that's her assigned seat. And people would, as they came in, they would come over because they knew you were somebody new or different, and they'd come over and, "Irma, is this your daughter?" Kind of a thing. And,
Exactly.
And Mom would introduce them and tell me a little something about them and so forth. And it was a real community for her. She was there, I think, for like 3 years before she passed, and it was interesting to see how the friendships were created. And one time when I'd be there, she was best friends with so-and-so. And then next time I'm there, she's best friends with the person on the other side of her. And then somebody new had moved in someplace in the hallway. And so now when we went to lunch, we had to knock on their door and say, come on, we're going to lunch. And it was just fun to see it because it brought her back to life is what it did.
Right.
And the food especially, having a place to go where you get a full meal. Before she went in there, I opened her closet door one time, the cupboard door at home, and there was a whole bunch of cereal, and there was lots of crackers and lots of pretzels.
Yeah, because it gets really difficult to cook, or you don't feel like cooking or doing the dishes as you get older.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it was kind of like she'd reverted back to being 6 again or something. And
right.
Eating the easy things.
Right. We do find if people have been losing weight because of the way they've been living on their own, that they actually will put on weight back to a normal weight because they're getting 3 meals a day,
right.
And something that is prepared in a healthy way, that they're getting a balance of their proteins and carbs and all that kind of stuff. So,
right.
Yeah.
We need to take a short break. We'll be back in just a minute.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back, listening to a funny story here while we're off the air. One that we can't repeat, of course. So just kind of chuckle along with us in spite of that. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with executive directors and staff from our nonprofit agencies about what they are doing to help folks in this life. How's that? Whatever stage of life they are in. And today we're gonna be covering youth and seniors.
Yeah.
So we got a good cross section here. But Rosalani Place, I guess the hard part is being able to afford to stay there.
Yes, because we are private pay. Someone may have benefits from their pension, possibly veteran benefits, or they may have invested in long-term care insurance, and those are the types of things that would help with a facility like Rosalani. And
you think, well, gosh, does it have to cost that much to be there? But when you think of it, this is your like you said earlier, food. It's all your food. It's where you live. It's the transportation to other things, all the activities. I mean, it costs money to provide that.
It does, and again, personalized care, and we have a licensed nursing staff, and then caregivers are there around the clock, as well as med technicians, so there's already somebody there if someone needs it. And of course, there's also emergency call systems. Each resident has a pendant system, so there is somebody at hand if they need it.
And that's whether it's whether they're choking or they've fallen or whatever the case might be.
Whatever the case might be.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a friend who said, I don't need a pendant. I carry my cell phone with me everywhere I go. They just have a pocket in every outfit they have. And so they, if they fall, they just call the neighbor.
Right.
Or whatever. They've got all these pre-numbers set. And that was kind of redundant, wasn't it? Pre-numbers set?
Preset numbers?
Preset numbers. Whatever.
Set.
Anyway.
We knew what you were saying.
But I said, what if you fall on the cell phone?
Or the battery dies.
Oh, yeah, right. You forgot to charge it last night or something. Well, that's another problem, but I guess that works. We all have our own little ways of...
And for our residents that are more independent, that don't really care to be checked on very often, what they do is they check on people at meal times. They actually do a roll call, and if they don't see somebody, they'll give them a call to the room. If they don't answer, they send somebody up right away just to be sure they're okay.
I got you.
Yeah.
I remember Mom had to give them notice if she wasn't coming down to eat, like if she was going out with me for lunch or something. She had to tell them like 24 hours in advance or something.
Well, I don't think we need to do quite that long of an advance notice, but it is good to know. Or if the nursing staff is actually administering medications, then you would have to stop and pick up her medications to take if she takes them with the meal.
I see, yeah.
And we also invite guests to come in, so families are more than welcome to join for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Right. Well, I remember when my brother and his family went up one time for, I think it was Thanksgiving. And they said, sure, you're open for Thanksgiving? I mean, I would think everybody wanted us to be home, all the staff and so forth. And they said, well, we have it early, and then they can all go home and have theirs.
Yeah, we do our regular luncheon at 11:30, and it's open to family and friends, and it's still usually just $10.
Wow.
So it's a really nice meal.
That's great.
Yeah.
I have another friend that's in a facility and that has a movie theater in the facility where they get, it's not the latest run films, but pretty close. It's an actual, seats in the theater type place. And I said, hello, what's the deal here? And I mean, it's one of these huge ones. It's a national conglomerate type organization. And I would hate to see what she pays every month for what she's got.
If it has a regulation theater, it sounds pretty nice, but
yeah,
we have like huge flat screen that we show the movies on.
There you go.
But it seems to work well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you're a smaller facility, so
yeah.
I think even in theirs, they said they had to have like 4 or 5 showings when they had a film in because just to get everybody who might want to come.
Sounds like a large place.
It was like park closest to the entrance, which building you're going in, and all this kind of stuff. But it was fascinating to walk around there, and it's one of those towns that all of a sudden sprung up with Microsoft money. They had a couple of computer geeks that lived there and created programs for Microsoft, and then and built businesses out of those programs. And then Microsoft came in and bought one after the other, and made several multimillionaires out of these young people. And so that a lot of that money ended up going back into the community because these were these were native sons who wanted to live there. And you saw places like this popping up to take care of the seniors. Yeah. And it's interesting to see it when it works like that. Mm-hmm. Instead of just a few people take their millions and run off to wherever. Right. But that was truly that was just something else. But it's the scope of it, and at some point, I guess you would get tired of the hugeness of it. Is that a word? Hugeness, something like that. It is. We said it.
You're right.
It's in my dictionary.
There we go. Okay, so Rosalani Place, 24/7. Everything you need as you're aging.
And it's really like an ohana because it's small. The staff and the residents do all know each other. We know each other by first name. And even when people come, when we suggest that they come for lunch, the nice thing is they'll probably reconnect with at least a half a dozen people that they maybe did a lot of things with in the community years ago. And that's always so much fun. Or they'll walk down the hallway and recognize their name up on their door. Well, I didn't know so-and-so was here, And so I think that makes the transition a bit easier for them, too, because they're going into a place where their friends are already there.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Now, do you get folks mostly from the Kahului, Wailuku, Central Maui area?
For the most part, we are, Maui folks, although we do have, some people that have moved here from the mainland. They may have their children have come over here 20, 30 years ago and have their own businesses, and instead of going back there and closing their business up here, they'll bring mom or dad over here. So we do have, I would say probably about 10% or 15% of that happening these days, more so than when I first started 9 years ago. So
that's neat. That's a good testament to the success of some of the business people around here.
Yeah.
That they would think to do that rather than just closing up shop and going home.
True.
Yeah. It always bothers me when people just shut down their lives and go back home to take care of mom and dad. It's the thing to do. I understand that, and I feel that way, and I felt that way with my folks. But it's like, to what degree? I mean, they prepared you for the life you're leading. And that's not really what they want you to have to do. They don't want to be a burden.
True.
And to change your lifestyle because of it. And so this provides an opportunity for everybody in a win-win situation. So I know I certainly appreciated the place where Mom was for those years. Any parting comments?
No,
that's a half an hour. Can you believe it?
Wow, it just flew by. But anyway, give me a call. I'm Diane. We'd love to see you. Come by our bingo event this Saturday, or just want to come check it out. My number again is 871-7720, and we're at 88th South Papa Avenue in Kahului. So aloha.
What's a full house for the bingo?
I'm usually about 60.
Wow.
And I've got about 40 people have signed up, RSVP'd so far.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
And we have, of course, some of our residents will be joining them as well.
Interesting.
Yeah. So if they would like to come, give me a call. I'll put your name on the list, and otherwise show up on Saturday.
Very good. Well, have a great senior Saturday.
Thank you.
And a great what's the week called?
National Assisted Living Week.
There you go. National Assisted Living Week. Super. Thanks, Diane.
Mahalo.
We appreciate it. And we're going to shift gears now. We're going to be talking with Paul Tonneson, who's the Executive Director of the Friends of the Children's Justice Center. How are you, Paul?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. We seem to have special events that we're talking about today. And I know you've got one coming up. What, Maui Stars for Keiki?
Yes, it's our annual fundraiser. Actually, we bring in about a third of our budget from this one night.
Wow.
It's always a sold-out event. We actually put tickets on sale less than 2 weeks ago, and we're down to 46 tickets left.
Oh, my gosh.
So
repeat customers, I'm assuming.
There's a lot of repeat and a lot of new.
Yeah.
One thing with the Friends is we don't have any state, federal, or county funds, so 100% of our funds are from private foundations or private donors, which is great. And we run on less than 10% operating cost. So when people are giving us money to help children, they're pretty much assured that the majority of what they're giving us is going back to help the children.
There's none of the 60% being used for the cause.
Correct. Or, if you've seen them made, they get 18 cents out of the dollar goes towards the cause or something like that.
Right.
There was just the 5 worst nonprofits in America. They just did a thing on. And
oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah.
It went down to 18%?
18 cents on the dollar was going towards
the program.
The programs or, the causes.
Oh, I think I saw something about that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah. So this year is our 25th anniversary. And a lot of people don't know this, but we were started by the local Rotarians. Tom Lutenecker was the founding president of the Friends, still very actively involved. His wife sits on our board, Ann. And so it's sort of a celebration of the past, the present, and the future of the Friends.
So tell me a little bit about what the Friends do. I mean, the Children's Justice Center does what?
Children's Justice Center is generally when a child has been either sexually or physically assaulted, or it could be an emotional abuse, any type of abuse of a child. They are brought to the facility where there's interviews conducted with trained therapists or psychiatrists. Maui Police is usually always there, and then Child Welfare Services will be there. And that's where the child will first get processed. This goes back to the Rotarians saw needs. It is a state, it's under the judiciary, so it's a state facility, but there was a lot of things the state couldn't do for the children. So if you go in, there's a little playroom where they do the interviews, and there's giraffes on the walls. And people came in and painted the walls with all, made it very child-friendly. The whole facility is very child-friendly. And we support them. That's part of our mission statement. So any gaps that they have, we'll step in and assist. But we also work with 25 social service agencies on island.
Okay, so gaps, when you're talking about gaps, this is helping the child that's been abused.
Yes. Our mission is to begin the healing process of a child after they've been traumatized.
Okay. So something's happened in the family or wherever. Correct. And the child is brought in for them to learn their side of the story.
Correct.
what's happened.
To be interviewed, right.
And so they find themselves with nobody they know. Scary time.
They could be put right into foster care.
Wow.
And, as much as, it could be mental health issues with the mom. It could be sexual assault, unfortunately, or physical assault. A child still loves their mom and dad. So I mean, the object isn't to break up a family, it's to heal the family and educate the family, and that's a big thing here in Hawaii. We're very fortunate. We don't have an orphanage where these kids are going to be thrown into a state facility. There's a lot of Hanai families that step in, or if not, we have a lot of great, what they used to call them foster parents. They're called resource caregivers, who step in and take in these children. But a lot of times when they take them in, sometimes we get children basically with the clothes on their back. So we have a program that we work in partnership with Kmart, voucher program. So what we can do is we can send that child or children, it depends if there's more than one involved in, being taken out of the home, down there, and they can get some personal hygiene products, some clothing, some various items that they might be lacking.
Now they would go there with the resource caregiver, or
either that, or sometimes
other family member that they're
a family member, or it could be someone that one of their caseworkers will take them. There's one good thing. There's a lot of compassionate people here on Maui that work with these kids. And that's, people. I love my job. I hate why it exists.
Why you have to have it, yeah.
Right. But at the same time, to make a difference in the life of a child is huge.
Right.
What
ages are we talking about?
Well, 0 to 18 is what we assist. So.
Wow. And sometimes it may be one child taken out of the family.
It could be 5.
Or it could be all of them.
Right.
Depending on what the issue is.
Yeah, and one of the things, it's funny because we got 600 backpacks donated, and the Rolfing Foundation did a movie day for all the foster children because they're very involved with the foster system, and Mark and Debbie. And it was funny because we rented out and we got Wreck-It Ralph, the movie, which is a character in violent video games and doesn't want to be there and keeps going from video game to video game until they get to Candyland, to a safe place. So it was very appropriate for these children because they've come from a lot of this background. And so as they were getting out, we were giving out backpacks filled with school supplies, and I was asking, how's the movie? Yeah, great. One kid came out, and it just breaks your heart because you don't realize it. I said, how was the movie? He goes, I got to see my brother, because his brother was in another foster home. Oh. So they were there together for the day. You know what I mean? So a lot of things we don't look at is, we're actually, these two siblings who probably usually there's a strong bond between kids in an abusive environment because they've just got each other to rely on. So, so it's great to see that the things that we do, out of the norm, like a movie day. We did a day at the park, and the mayor played chess with over 100 foster kids. And it was just a great day out for them,
Interesting. So the Friends really is what they say. They are friends of the children in the justice system.
Correct.
Interesting. Correct. Interesting. So how you were talking about the 25th
anniversary this year.
So obviously you've got a generation. What's a generation? 20 years?
Yep.
So you've got a generation of children that have been helped.
Correct.
Do you ever see any of those back?
Yes.
Do they volunteer? Do they come back to pay it forward?
Yes, they do, actually. And actually, even some of the resource caregivers, the foster parents, they'll come in and they'll actually ask if there's something they can give back to us. And we have one right now that's volunteering for us with some computer stuff. Because I'm the only paid staff member. We only have one staff member. But if you join my board, it's pretty upfront that you will be working. You'll be part of Paul's staff, which is great, and they love it. I mean, it's not grudgingly that they do it. I have, my treasurer also comes in, and he's the bookkeeper.
Don't sign up if you don't want to work.
Right. So,
Gotcha. On that note, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back again. We're talking story with Paul Tonneson, who is the Executive Director of Friends of the Children's Justice Center of Maui. And they've got a big event coming up, their annual fundraiser, which I think you said earlier is about a third of
our annual revenue. Yes, comes in one night.
It's a biggie. Now you've got on the advertisement that I was looking at here, it's talking about the live and the silent auction. You've got things like an oriental chest, handmade ukulele, stainless steel barbecue, a lanai trip package, etc. And entertainment, you've got a harpist and a halal.
Yes, and it's all graciously
I've never seen a halal work to
well, what we want to
harpist.
do, oh yeah, no, they'll be separate.
Oh, okay.
But the halal, thanks to Kahulu Maluo, she is bringing in the keiki, and we're going to do a dedication to the founding members who are going to be present that night.
Oh, cool.
And our entertainment is always free of charge. Like I said, we've got a great community here. And when I reach out and ask someone, hey, can you assist me, they're more than happy to say yes.
Well, there's nothing that tears at the heart more than children who have been abused or neglected.
Correct.
And anything anybody can do to help ease the pain of that in whatever manner.
Yep.
I mean that's a plus.
Yeah. And look, it's amazing the amount of support we have. We do the Hyundai golf tournament, and I got these big bright yellow Friends of the Children's Justice Center T-shirts, and people stop you. And I had a guy from Australia, and he said, "Oh," and we asked about it. And when I told him, believe it or not, he went online and made a donation to the agency.
Wow.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
A lot of people don't like to think about these things. It does exist. The goal of the Friends is, how can we make a difference in these children's lives? Rebuild them, rebuild their self-esteem, and rebuild the families. I mean, there's usually an underlying cause why the chaos is going on, whether it's drugs, alcohol, mental illness, abuse as a child themselves. They're taught normal behaviors. They're angry,
Right. So while you're working with the children and trying to keep them on some even keel, or to bring them up to some even keel, the justice system is working with the adults.
Correct.
Who have caused the problem.
Family court.
Family court. Okay.
Yep.
And so they're going to either get the treatment they need or whatever, so that hopefully the ultimate outcome is that they're reunited at some point.
Correct. Yep. To reunify the families is the goal.
Okay.
The goal is not to separate them. Like I said earlier, children love their parents. They don't understand what's going on most of the time, or why things are happening. And believe it or not, it's a normal environment to them until they get pulled from it. So, it's important that the parents go through the system and, and there's a lot of proper care out there for them.
And so while that's going on, the children are in either some another family member's home.
Correct.
Or at the caregivers,
resource
caregivers,
yep.
And are seeing another way of how families live.
Correct.
And hopefully setting a better example
some
for them.
some normalcy,
If we can call it that,
right. Well, to them, which is abnormal to them.
Right.
Because normalcy to them is what they've been exposed to.
Right.
And it's generational, multi-generational a lot of times, because you're just taught behaviors, and it's something you witness, and it's just, a child from 0 to 5 learns 80% of their knowledge and their behaviors. They learn that if someone gets you mad, well, you hit them because they watch it happen. Do you know what I mean? So it's what they call breaking the cycle. It's like we have Miss Hawaii, Fletcher Tova.
Mm-hmm.
She's come and she is a big supporter for us. It's part of her cause with her title. And she has been amazing helping us out. She'll be there for the night of the event.
Very good.
And tickets are going fast. We sell out every year. This year is probably the record for our 25th anniversary. So we're down to about 46 tickets left at this point. And like I said earlier, they've only been out for 10 days. So it's a great fun event. It's not dark. We make it very light. It's about celebrating the friends, and what we've done. We have a student that's going to come up who is a huge success story for the friends.
Cool.
From homelessness to president of the class.
Wow.
From straight Fs to a 3.8 grade point average. We've followed this young gentleman, and it's amazing, again, going back to what we can do to make a difference in the life of a child. If you can expose them to positive things, they can even bring them back into their own negative environments.
And make a difference.
And make a difference.
Right.
So
starting at the beginning, excuse me, of the series of things that happen that gets you involved, reporting child abuse. One of the questions you ask on your website is, do you know where you would go to get help if you or another child may have been sexually abused? Do you know what agencies would be involved, or whether you would need to call the police? Finding out these answers ahead of time can make a tremendous difference in how a child's case is handled. So what would one do if you suspect that a child has either been neglected or abused?
The first thing you want to do is you want to call professionals in the field, and that's generally Child Welfare Protective Service. Or if you think a child is in imminent danger, you definitely want to go in and you want to call 911. A lot of people, and I've talked about this and I don't mind sharing it. I grew up in a very abusive home, but during the 60s and early 70s, the neighbors just closed the windows. There wasn't really child protective services available at that point. You don't want to regret not reaching out and trying to help them. And it's anonymous. Child Welfare Service has an 800 number.
That's the 24-hour crisis line.
Yeah.
800-494-3991.
And that is, what they'll do is they'll just walk you through a couple of questions. It is anonymous. So what they'll do is they'll just send someone out to investigate the situation. And sometimes it might not warrant removing, because they don't want to remove the child.
Right.
Again, it goes back to they want to reunify, or they want to fix the issues within the home. So that, but if they go in and find reason to remove the child, then naturally you've made a huge difference in the life of a child. We want to prevent child abuse.
Right.
Our vision is to have no more child abuse. Maui County free of child abuse and neglect. That's our goals, but it's a lot of work. So we do a lot of other prevention efforts. We work directly with students at risk. It's been very successful for us. I've talked about it on the show before, our anti-bullying. We're working on a breaking the cycle right now. So to get these children educated that have been exposed to it, or even if they haven't, they can carry this out to their peers and see things that, wow, maybe I should do something. Maybe I should
Right.
call someone. Maybe should I ask them if they're okay? You know, because again, education's the key.
So I guess we could take this thing even back further and say, just for those, I mean, it's easy for us to talk about child abuse and sexual abuse and so on and so forth, but child abuse or child maltreatment is what? How would you define?
Well, maltreatment might be a child's not properly clothed, or clean, or fed. Generally, those would be the categories you'd look for in maltreatment. And a lot of school teachers will see this because they have the most exposures to these children. You know, if a child's always showing up dirty or very distraught, we actually work with some of the schools to help them. A lot of the teachers or the counselors will reach out and say, hey, do you think you can help us out with some clothing? This kid really has nothing. And believe it or not, it's a huge thing for the kid's self-esteem to show up, you know, like the peers with clean socks and underwear. And
I think it is for any age.
right.
Any age.
Correct.
You know, and maybe
But
especially
if
kids.
they don't have access to it, you know, they have to go with what they have. So a lot of times we'll jump in and we'll help these kids out. I shared this before. We used to send them to Savers years ago, you know, and it was part of our growth, you know, but we realized that they can't get clean underwear, they can't get clean socks, they can't get personal hygiene items. And a child that's been denigrated, to send them, and there's nothing against Savers, but to send them in a store where they might find a shirt they like, but then it has a little hole in it, and this, you know, it might have a little stain, you know. I mean, at least when they go to Kmart, they're out
It's new.
shopping,
Yeah.
you know. So,
Interesting. And it seems like a small thing, but it really is a big thing.
correct, it's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then sexual abuse is described, or how would someone know that something might be going on?
Well, generally, you know, a lot of times could be the child's showing some symptoms of pain. You know, a school nurse or someone might catch it, or a teacher or something, or bruising, and then, you know, they're all mandated reporters. If the child is questioned and discloses something of that nature, they'll automatically contact Child Welfare Service and Maui Police Department, and they're the ones that make the determination. So again, it's all anonymous. You're not determining whether the child is being abused, but please, if you have the slightest suspicion, do the child a favor and just give them a call. You know, you know, it's important that you look out for the safety of the child first.
Right. Right. Now, typically in a family situation, say there's 3 or 4 kids, child abuse doesn't necessarily mean they're all being abused. It could be just one.
It could
Is
be
that true?
just, yeah, but they're being subject to it.
Okay.
So they are, even like victims of domestic violence, just witnesses, children, are being abused.
Okay.
They're emotionally suffering from what they have to watch.
Right.
You know, we don't think about it. I watched this documentary and they were talking about, well, at least the infant wasn't traumatized. But then this doctor came on and said the infant was definitely traumatized by all this domestic violence and screaming and breaking. And you know, just because the child can't talk doesn't mean that it hasn't affected the child. So anything in our surroundings
Interesting.
affect us,
Right.
you know, so.
I knew somebody who one time said that there was never any yelling or screaming in their household. Mom and Dad they fought like, you know, people do, but it was never that kind of fighting. It was more quiet, usually out of the sight or out of the hearing of the children. Wait till the kids go to bed and then have their little tiff over whatever. Or they'd take a walk around the block and do it outside. Maybe everybody else heard them, but the family didn't, you know. And one of them happened to fall in love with somebody who was a screamer. And that didn't last long because they said, I don't know how to handle it.
Yep.
And it's not that that's a bad thing. It's just that, you know, we kind of have to know that this really happens.
Right.
And just because you're a screamer doesn't mean you're going to hit somebody or abuse them in any way,
Yeah, it
shape, or
depends
form.
on, you know, because emotional abuse is very damaging.
That's
you
true.
know.
That's true.
And if it's triggering someone or if it's affecting them, whoever was smart. So
That's a good point too. So now, as you're working with these children, and providing clothing and so forth for them, the programs that the state or other agencies have help them in other ways.
correct. Like with
Okay.
Quest Medical, sometimes there's not enough coverage for medical, so we do medical, we do transportation, we do football, soccer, hula, dance. Again, anything to start rebuilding this child that they wouldn't have the ability to do on their own. A lot of these resource caregivers, believe it or not, are not in great financial situations.
Right.
They're doing it from their heart, so they can't afford when a child wants to do football or anything else like that. And that's why it's important to come to our event and support them.
Ah, there we go. There we go.
And it's October 9th. It's on a Friday night, and it's always at the King Kamehameha Golf Club. We limit it to 200 people. We love the intimacy of the event. And you can always go online. We have the tickets on our website, which is Maui and then CJC, like childrensjusticecenter.org. Or you can call us at 986-8634. And there's all kinds of information. We got a great website. Again, one of our working board members. It's a free website for us. Does an amazing job with keeping everything current. And you can go in and read the history of the friends. You can read about what to do about child abuse and neglect, who to call, what resources are available. We have a resource page in the community here in Maui.
And one of the big things I know that I've heard you talk about is at Christmas time.
Yeah.
Helping not only the kids that are directly in your program, but also kids that are in other programs where they may not be getting Christmas gifts.
Well, what we do is we work with children of abuse and neglect, and it might be one child with a family of 5, but what we found is that we don't want to gift one child without the 4 remaining siblings. So last year we gave out over 1,700 gifts to the community to help children in need, and we got great partnerships with that in this community. You know, Donna Hanson from Hanson Realty, we got Whole Foods, we got Wailuku Coffee Company. We've got tons of places that just stop up and do the toy drives for us.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
And we'll be hearing more about that as we get into the season.
Yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back in November for that one. So.
Very good. Well, thank you, Paul, for sharing with us your Maui Stars for Keiki, the Friends of the Children Justice Center celebrating 25 years.
Yeah. You
What
can
an
also
accomplishment.
email me at paul@mauicjc.org also if you want
Terrific.
any information about the event.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maui Nonprofit Notes is sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, the builder's choice. Give Paul and his staff a call at 986-0380 or stop by their showroom in the Waikapu Bayshard on East Oahe Way to see how they can help you with your building project. The Maui Nonprofit Directors Association's mission is to provide personal and professional support to nonprofit executive directors, their organizations, and the community of Maui. Please visit our website at mauinonprofit.org for a list of member agencies. And if you see an agency listed there that you'd like more information about, please go to their website for those details. Today we visited with Diana Alba Means from the Rosalani Place, who's having some big events coming up. Call them at 871-7720. With Paul Tonneson of Friends of the Children's Justice Center, give him a call at 986-8634. Mahalo for tuning in. Don't forget to join us again next week, same time, same place. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. Thanks for joining us. Aloha.